promised last time that I would be more positive about the FAA. And lucky for me is that the FAA has given us a lot to be positive about. We're putting money out there for infrastructure, and we have new leadership. Let's talk about it. Stability at last. So the change of command at the FAA is complete, at least for a while. Ms. Polly Trottenberg is now the acting FAA administrator. This is great news. Ms. Trottenberg has a very familiar name in transportation, as she was the Deputy Secretary of Transportation. She knows her way around Washington, and she is experienced in the movement of people and goods, having led the New York City Transportation Department as well as working in the New York, New Jersey Port Authority. And with her is acting as the new Deputy Administrator comes Ms. Katie Thompson. Ms. Thompson has loads of transportation experience in both industry and with the DOT, and even experience at the FAA as the former Chief Counsel. This is a great team to lead the FAA. Experience with big organizations, a big network that works in Washington, D.C., and close ties with DOT. This may not be permanent, although, why not? A little bit of a downgrade for Ms. Trottenberg, I would say, but hey, why not? But if this can be leadership at the FAA for a while, we'll be a lot better off. There's a lot going on that stability is sorely needed. This is a good start. Hey, let's talk about commercial space a little bit. In 2023, there is forecasted 145 launches. That seems like a pretty big number, but it's way less than the 180 launches that were achieved in 2022. And it's one less than what was achieved in 21. We're going backwards. What's going on here? We need more launches, not less. McKinsey has done this report about the space industry, and it kind of resembles a roller coaster ride line at Disney World. Thousands of satellites are in development or waiting in the wings to be launched, but there aren't enough launches to take care of them to space. With an average of 50, even though there's an average of 50 satellites launched a week. Unbelievable. SpaceX is carrying the load for these launches and also has made the biggest investments, but it might not be enough to clear the backlog. You know, with people looking for, space tourism and stuff like that, we got real work to do here. Seems like there's an opportunity to somebody with some rockets. The FAA made a press release that they put $100 million to 12 airports to reduce runway incursions. I thought, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. What a great move. But when I looked into it, it reminds me of a song by a band called Lazy Boy, where the song is called We Only Read the Headlines, which was me for just a moment. Because the headline is awesome, but the details, well, it's hard to correlate that 100 million to that headline. 12 airports received the funding. Not one has been in the news with near collisions in 2023. And not one is in the top 20 listing of airports with multiple runway incursions, which is a stat that you can pull off the FAA's own website. Republic Airport in New York is listed as number 30 with multiple runway incursions, but the grant itself doesn't list safety as an issue. Harry Reid International is listed as number 41, and that is the first one that talks about the work to be done for safety reasons. 41. Seems like the headline is calling attention to what we all are worried about and what we're seeing in the news. The FAA, you would have thought would have used its detailed work, the Office of Runway Incursion, and set the priorities so that headline matched with what was going on. Weird stuff. Maybe they'll get to it. So reauthorization. It's kind of creeping in the news a little bit. What I've been able to gather from the House and Senate words, that everything seems kind of vanilla. There doesn't appear to be anything bold or even interesting buried in the hundreds of pages of text. Nothing about bold staffing adjustments, which is the latest news. Nothing about remote towers, nothing about using satellites, and nothing about the goals for resilience and ensuring a reasonable age for our infrastructure. Airports could be getting a lot more money. for the Airport Improvement Program, the grant program, and that would be great. And it would be greater if that money could also be used to deploy some runway incursion technology. Something that's already in the advisory circulars that are published by the Office of Airports, but it's something AIP is rarely, if ever, is used for. Vanilla is not necessarily bad. As we approach the expiration of the FAA's reauthorization in the next few months, maybe this authorization without a lot of conflict can get done. But there is conflict, and we'll talk about that next week. As long as we're talking about next week, smash that like button, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can tell when I put out one of these things, hopefully next week. Thanks. So I've been doing a lot of traveling lately. It sure is like we're back into 2019 or even better. We are so close, but we are not quite back yet. In June so far, we have exceeded the 2019 passenger count 7 times out of the 22 days that have been published. The other days are about 1% behind. So we are so close, so close. But what's really interesting is the airlines are using a lot less flights to move the people, both compared to 2019, but also compared to the much lower passenger count in 2022. That's wild. It is taking 1 million less flights so far to date, June 22nd on those. That's the dates I used for air carriers and air taxis from 2022, and a whopping 1.8 million less flights than was worked in 2019 to achieve the passenger numbers. Wow. So makes you wonder. Seems like we might have plenty of room for new entrants. Maybe there shouldn't be concern. And with that much less traffic, do we have a staffing problem, or what is really going on? It raises some ugly questions. Hey, to close this week, I want to make a big shout out to Brad Mims for hanging in there as the Deputy Administrator over the last couple of years. He was never afraid to openly discuss the challenges with industry, and for that we are all better off. Brad will become the Director of the Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization at DOT, and he has personally shown with the agency's efforts with the infrastructure funding that this assignment is an assignment of passion, and I do wish him all the best. Best to you, Brad.